All right, I'm gonna do a quick video, really unscripted, off the cuff type of video on mini camps. Someone reached out to me through Twitter asking me about my UDFA video. Why do I think the Patriots don't have a long list? And the same thing with minicamp. Why only have one minicamp invite? The big thing there, I have to imagine, is because they brought in so many guys through the draft. Like, we had a lot of draft picks. I'm not sure if it was the most, but it has to be one of the most. I mean, that's basically the last few rounds were all UDFA picks in many ways. Not that the players are really worth it, but those would be the guys that I'm pretty sure the Patriots would have been kind of thinking about as a UDFA target. They're obviously not starting caliber per se. They could be in some way there, but they're mostly special teams guys. So I'm not sure if they'll even make the roster, but that's probably the primary reason why we're not seeing so many UDFA pickups. And I did mention that in the video, but I think my frustration kind of overshadowed that. I came back to it several times, but every time I wanted to talk about it, it was, I kept pointing out that, hey, you might be confident with what you have, but if you look at your practice squad and even just like take the look at the 53 man and how many guys in there are just kind of the just another guy type of, I hate to say they're generic, but the NFL is about becoming like, you gotta have packages and personnel that match up against other people trying to mismatch you, and then you're trying to create mismatches. That's the NFL now. Like, yeah, you can scheme a lot, but you're scheming for the personnel. You're not really like scheming against another person's scheme anymore, if that makes any sense. I don't think anybody can really just like X's and O's another team unless you're Xing and O's with your personnel. So you're doing something specific with that type of player against a player from another team that has these attributes. And if you can get that mismatch and you can figure out why this player beats the other one, and you're exploiting that over and over, that's how you can get sometimes like your third receiver or like a slot receiver being, being relatively quiet for a few games, and all of a sudden they have a huge game because you discovered that their person who was covering the slot corner could not handle them, either in terms of size or speed or whatever it is, right? So that happens over and over, both on offense and defense. The defense can do the same thing. Now I look at our team and we have that to a certain extent, but then our second and third team, third tier guys, the depth of our team and practice squad is a lot of just another guy. It's just another generic player, right? And although they're good, they're professional football players, they are skilled, they are capable of doing that. We don't offer that. Well, what happens when this guy gets into the game? Like, where is that? Like, what do we do about their third guy if he gets in the game? Like, we don't have anybody against that. Oh man, we better spend some time and think about what we're gonna do and respond to that. Now, other teams do that. Other teams have guys that all of a sudden they're out on the field, and you have defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators being like, well, we gotta hold on. Well, we gotta figure this out real quick because we can't run this or do that now because they have this guy out there. Anyway, point being is, if the Patriots want to at least be competitive, and the other thing is, do the Patriots want to show to the fans that they are trying? That this year is not just another punt it, we don't have a shot, we don't have things assembled, right? Again, I pointed this out in my last video. Like, the Patriots were a few plays away from being a winning team and going to the playoffs, going in with double-digit wins, right? I mean, there's a few. If you look at like 4 games, probably there's a bunch. Yeah, probably about 4 games where they were a game or a play or two from winning, a mess up, or a drop pass, a fumble, turnover, somebody throwing the ball to the other team. I don't know. But point being is, I realize that the Patriots don't need to be in full-on panic mode, but the idea of just always running it back with run-of-the-mill just another guy players is a problem. And again, I'm going to reiterate this. I don't believe that is what's happening with our starting players. We have, if you look at the offense, there's some variety in there now. The guys you just picked up on through the draft. There's some variety in there. There's things going on. I admit that. But when I look at the practice squad, and again, you look at the depth, there's some room for improvement. Why do I care about the practice squad? Well, if you're just running up against normal guys, on the other side of the ball in your practice, and you're trying to prepare for a game where there is a, big offensive tackle or a very ultra quick defensive end who's a little bit shorter, who can get under your tackles and they gain leverage and they can bend, or a linebacker that's really shifty, or what happens if you're a really good run-stopping linebacker who is like the Rock of Gibraltar in the middle of the field that you can't move. Every time someone comes up to him, he just sheds it. So, where are those guys? Well, there are some that have not been invited to minicamps. Now, I don't think these guys are completely under the radar. In fact, they're not. They're not under the radar. Now, I don't know if these guys have had issues with injuries or there's some really big red flags. Physically, though, these are the guys that you bring them in, you look at them, and you're like, I think I might be able to use this guy. Or he's got no shot to play in the NFL. Maybe have something, some success in some other league. But you won't know until you try. And I don't know if people have called these guys up. I don't know if they haven't accepted any invites. Maybe they're just literally not looking to go on to play in the NFL. But I'm going to give you a few guys that we should be considering calling up. Now, before we get into the list, the rookie mini camps usually happen this weekend and next weekend. And you can only bring 5 in. I do not know about the invite, so I don't think you only have 5 tickets here. You only can bring in 5 and you send out 5, and then if they don't respond, that's it. I don't think that's the way it is. You can only bring 5 in. So, that being said, I don't know. You don't want to send out 1,000 and get 1,000 yeses back and then have to, rescind on those invitations. But so I have to admit this before, kind of disclaimer. I don't know every single thing about this process, but I'm at least gonna throw out a few names. Maybe since the Patriots did not get any, people coming back, they can send out some more. I don't know, but here are a few. Starting off with Ryan Greenhagen. I mentioned him, I think, a few times, and I've yet to do. I want to do a video on him, and maybe I will sometime at the end of this week. He's a linebacker from Fordham. I think he's 6'1", 240. Let's see. Let me actually bring up his bio here. He's 6'1", 245. Now, he is a machine in terms of tackles. He set the NCAA Division I single-game record with 31 tackles against Nebraska. Total for his career, let's just do that. Let's do this first for this year. So this past year, he had 63 total tackles, 50 assists. Sorry, I should say 63 solo, 50 assists for 113 total. 7 tackles for losses. He had 4.5 sacks and an INT. 3 pass breakups, and 5 QB hits. So, he's a machine. Now it's for his career. Over 400 total tackles. So in 41 games, 40 tackles. So it's almost 10 per game. 2 INTs, 8 pass deflections, and 2 forced fumbles. 20 sacks total for his career. So he's got the numbers. Now I'm gonna try to get some video on this. This guy is again just sheds blockers. Linebacker, lineman, doesn't matter. He gets rid of them. Now why would I bring up getting a linebacker coming into camp? Don't we need offensive talent? Now, this wouldn't be, let's bring in a guy that we need this year. It would be, we're losing Bentley. Or I shouldn't say this. Bentley, McMillan, Uche, Mac Wilson, and Jennings are all up for contracts next year. I'm sure we will sign a few of those guys, but not all of them. Mapu probably helps fill in one of those threats of those guys leaving. But that's 5 guys leaving. I'm sure we're not going to sign all of them back, either because they're going to be asking for a lot more money, or we decide just to get rid of them. Now, if you have a guy in the practice squad, right, coming in this season, maybe he can play. Maybe this guy can actually be on the team. These are guys who are on the team, right? I'm not talking about just practice squad guys. So bring him in. Maybe he's a threat. Maybe you like him. The big thing is if he's a practice squad guy, now you have somebody to practice against who's really good at shedding blocks and is an absolute monster run stopper. He's the best run stopping linebacker in the whole draft. Statistics, and if you look at him technique wise, the guy just wraps up. There's nobody getting away from him. Once he wraps up, you're done. You don't see him lose tackles. All right, so there's the first guy. Second guy I got on my list is B.J. Wilson. He's offensive tackle from Quincy. It's a D2 school, but he's 6'6", 320, former tight end. I think he injured himself in the back half of this past season, but prior to that, he played the whole entire year, I believe. There's not much to go on. I have some tape on him, but no one has him on his list, and yet he was considered somebody to take a look at. I think this is the situation where he's probably going to go UDFA. Maybe the injury is worse than thought. Maybe maybe just people are just overlooking him. But somebody that you can bring in. Now, again, we didn't pick up any tackles this year. No true tackles. Now, I'm not saying that this guy's tape is better than Sal's or Mafi's. I'm not saying that. But, next year, Trent Brown's gone, probably. And Kajust is up. So you got 2 guys leaving next year, plus the fact that we didn't pick up a tackle this year. We have plenty of guys on the roster, but coming in this year. So, I'm not saying we have to go out and get this guy, but maybe you bring him in and you look at him, you're like, maybe he's got something. Maybe we can find a spot for him. Now, my next guy is Richard Jibunor. He's from Troy. He's a edge, linebacker, and safety. So he was the guy I had my eyes on as our end of the day, because I didn't expect us to do the Mapu. I was not expecting that at all. I thought maybe him and Skinner were going to be like maybe the late fourth round guys if we decided to go after that. But I thought, maybe they're going to find this Richard Jibunor guy, which you don't have to go digging for him that much. He's from Troy, which had an awesome defense this past year. He's 6'3", 222 pounds, so he's very similar to all those guys. 41 tackles. 11 for loss. 7.5 sacks. 3 forced fumbles. 1 fumble recovery. And 1 interception. He was a big part of that Troy defense. Very interesting upright edge / linebacker. Again, I'm going to go to the fact that next year you got Uche, Mac Wilson, and Jennings. And again, Bentley and McMillan, but I would really put the focus on Uche, Mac Wilson, and Jennings. This guy is a physical freak. I don't have any pro day numbers. I don't know what's happening. That's why I'm saying some of these guys, maybe I don't understand. I know that they're not going back to school. I know they declared for the draft. I just don't have a pro day on him. I don't know what happened. And that might be the big red flag there. Let's see. But another big thing is that he was originally from Auburn, but he transferred in. So, the guy's... Was he, I think, a 3-star? Was he 3 or 4? Not sure. But, he's got all the, all conference honors. He's been, he had, what was it, 2021? Let's do 2021 season here. Fumble recovery, let's see, forced tackles for loss, let's see. 41 tackles, 10 for loss, 8 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble recovery. So this guy makes plays. He's a playmaker. He's got interceptions and sacks all his seasons. Now, Troy, I understand, is not some sort of blue chip, program, but they play big guys. Like they play South Carolina. They play legitimate teams every single year. Might be the Sun Belt, but Purdue, Washington, these guys play plenty of really good teams. The next guy, Junior Aho. Yeah, is a D tackle from SMU. Now he was, I was surprised I saw him because he's the freak that came out of their pro day, and the guy's escaping me, but he's going back for this year, so he's on my top of my list for next year's draft. But there's another guy I was expecting to come out this year, but all of a sudden Junior Aho pops up, and the guy's a physical freak. I think he's, what is he, 6'1" or 6'2"? 6'2", almost 6'3", 260 pounds. Let's just do some numbers in terms of his his 40 yards at 260s, 4'5'9", 33-inch vert, 10 foot to over 10 foot 3 broad jump. His shuttle was 4'5'8". His cone was 7'3'8". That gave an RES of 9.38. So he's one of the best relative athletic scores for a D tackle this year. All right, now again, maybe we don't need a D tackle this year, but this guy's a very fast physical specimen, really long arms. I think he had 34-inch arms, super long. Right now, he's not necessarily big. He's 260, but he's 6'3", 260. Maybe we're gonna go against somebody who's a little bit quicker and faster on the inside, right? Next year, Carl Davis is up, so why not? I'm not sure if this guy can play edge. He might be able to play some D end. I'll have to look at his tape a little bit more. But I don't see it again. This is another guy. I don't see his name up on the list now. You would be like, well, maybe they're not so, some of these guys, you're like, well, maybe they're not so smart or something like that. Like, most of these guys had academic accolades under their bios. So, I'm not going to put them as that being the major issue. I know some of these guys, it's definitely injuries. Let's actually do Chris Elmore. Where is he? Okay, so Chris Elmore from Syracuse, ready? He's a fullback, tight end, guard, and defensive end. He played both ways in 2 years, or at least 1 year. 6 foot, 291. I think he slimmed down to like 280 though. But basically, he came in tight end guard and played defensive end. They moved him to fullback. The guard situation, he even played because of injuries. He's been a team captain. I can bench 410 pounds, squat 620, hang cleans 310, so decent power scores. I mean, the guy can move some weight. He has had 2 seasons in a row of injuries, and again, in college they don't really declare what it is most of the time, but it was a knee injury last year. I don't know if it required surgery. I don't know anything about that. But again, the guys play tight end, fullback, offensive lineman. It's very impressive. Now, why I point him out is because he probably is one of those practice squad, like, absolute monsters that you can put in the fullback, tight end, guard, or defensive end positions and just have them. He's there. He's your guy that you can, he's a core special teams player at Syracuse as well. I mean, he did carry the ball. Not a lot, but I mean, he's got some yardage and some touchdowns to his name at fullback. The big thing would be showing up that he was primarily one of the reasons why Sean Tucker had such a successful career at Syracuse. He's a fullback, but he's also like the size of a guard in a way. He's a little bit shorter and a little bit lighter than most guards, but he's bigger than most fullbacks, and that guy would just come into the hole. He'd pick up that linebacker or any of the defense. He'd pick up the first guy, and Tucker would just come right off him. One little nice little jump cut, and he was gone. And he just opened. It was... He'd come in on motion. He'd have him out in the slot. He'd come in on motion. Jeez. And he moves. He's fast. He's a very fast guy. Guy even returned kickoffs. I mean, come on. Let's see. Anything to point out besides that? Besides just the guy's been doing it for a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's obviously committed. He's a two-time captain. Played in all those positions. He did whatever Syracuse asked him to do. Looking for somebody to put on who's hungry and wants to work. I watched some interviews of the guy. Seems like a nice dude. Give him a shot. Same with this other guy, Jason Dumas. D-tackle and fullback from Southern. Now, he's 5'10", 280 pounds. I would say his D-tackle... I mean, he might be able to play fullback a little bit, but his D-tackle is interesting to put onto like a practice squad position because he is 5'10", but he's very similar to the Levi Bell guy, where he finds his way into the backfield in the most interesting ways. His moves, he played straight up zero technique. I mean, 5'10", zero technique, which is where you kind of end up putting those guys sometimes, if they're not a monstrosity. But 5'10", 280, he becomes an issue for a center who obviously has to hike the ball. And if he's 5'10" and he's quick and he gets past you at 280, he's probably going to at least make some penetration in the backfield and do some disruption. He was the HBCU Bowl Defensive Player of the game. The guy had an awesome game. He's got decent numbers. He was a transfer, so, you know, he's bumped around. He's been bounced around a little bit, but again, you're looking at somebody who wants to come in and do work. Again, haven't seen his name on any invite lists. All right, so Ike Irabor. I think it's Ike. Yeah, Ike? Yeah. He's from Union College. It's D3. He's a running back. Now, you're probably all like rolling your eyes. Now, this is one of the situations where I've worked with athletes where they've made the decision to go to certain schools because of the school they're going to, because they want to get a good education. If you don't know Union College, it is very hard to get into. It is, I don't want to say ultra elite, but it's it's on that next tier under your Ivies and tech schools. It is very much a tech school in many ways, but is hard, good engineering school, and some guys, people make those decisions to go to like that. They go to RPIs, they go to Clarksons, they go to Cal Poly or MIT. They go make those decisions, even though they're completely, totally capable Division I athletes. They just make those really strong decisions. Hey, like, I'm smart and I want to have a job. What happens if this football thing doesn't work out? I'm passed up a bigger opportunity in terms of getting an elite education. So, not all Division III athletes, especially if they come from one of those schools, you can just roll your eyes at. Trust me, I've worked with them, I've seen them, I've been in places where Division III can work against Division I, and those guys show up and everybody's like, oh, they're D3. And it's like, hey, watch out. That's just because they're D3 doesn't mean they're bad athletes. And this guy's not a bad athlete. He is right at 5'10", 204 pounds. He's got a relative athletic score of 8.18 out of running backs. 33-inch arms. He's got 4.45 40. 36-inch vert. His broad was 10'7". Let's see. His shuttle was okay. It's like 4.43. His three cone was decent too, 7.05. Now, he's running back, but Union used him as a slot. So this guy's got pass catching running back. Very powerful. I saw his pro tape. It looks pretty good. Now, he has been invited by the Giants. Now, I don't know when the Giants are doing their. I think it might be this weekend, as far as I've done some sort of research. So if the Patriots, which are the last couple of years has been the second weekend, maybe they reach out to this guy. He is from Braintree. So there is something to be said there. Union College is in Schenectady, New York. It wouldn't be a huge deal for somebody to call him up if he, maybe they have and he just declined it, but you're looking for a running back. I mean, the rumor has it you guys were both interested in both Bijan and Jameer in the first round. Despite everybody being like, oh, don't get running backs. Those two running backs you're not finding next year. There's some speed backs out there. There's some guys who are probably going to run the low 4.3s and 4.2s. There's also some big backs out there. They're big and heavy. But the problem is I don't see them being those Bijans and Jamirs. Now, next year, you have, let's see, Kevin Harris is up, and so is Ty Montgomery. So now you're going to have to go after two running backs next year. Maybe you could bring this guy in on maybe he's something you can take a look at. I mean, I like Kevin Harris. He's done well so far. Ty Montgomery, some bad luck. But those guys are up next year. Maybe this guy can make it on your practice squad. You have somebody bring up on your practice squad. I mean, I like J.J. Taylor and everything, but this guy smokes J.J. Taylor. And he's got decent tape. All right, my last guy is one of my favorite guys to watch on film. Very interesting player. And he's an all-time leader in the FBS in tackles. He's a record holder. His name is Carlton Martial. He's 5'9", 201 pounds as a linebacker. Now, this is the guy I'm saying this with. I doubt he'll be called up, but I'm going to give him some respect here. He's got 135 tackles last year, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 2 deflected pass, and an INT. He got a Senior Bowl invite, so keep that in mind. This guy should have been, he was at the Senior Bowl, but he missed the practices because he had severe back spasms. He couldn't, he could barely walk. So he couldn't practice. He didn't get to show. He didn't get to do the Marti Mapu. He wasn't able to show up there and show what he can do. Now, look at his tape, and this guy is a bulldog. Because he does the same thing I've been mentioning about these other shorter guys, is that he gets past the tackle. The tackles don't have leverage on him. Or the guards or the centers. He just comes flying in, and nobody can get a clean hit, a block on him. And he blasts right by you at 201 pounds. Guy's did 30 bench at 5'9", 201, did 30 reps on the 225-pound bench press. Blasts right by you, pops right into you, and he wraps up, and he doesn't let go. He pulls down guys that are several inches taller than him. He's an interesting person. I mean, he probably should have been a running back, but he wanted to play on the other side of the ball. He's not going to demand a lot of space. He's quick and shifty, though. He's kind of like, yeah, he is kind of like the opposite. He's like Darren Sproles coming in, except he's trying to tackle you, not get away from you. I don't know. But, so those are the list of guys. I know, I'll say this again. These are just examples of different types of players that the Patriots don't really have too many of these. Well, I mean, most people don't have a lot of these guys, especially like you take somebody like Carlton Martial or Jason Dumas. Most of those guys, you don't find too much of those guys that are on other people's teams. But, having somebody like a Chris Elmore, who's played 5 different positions, Junior Aho, which I'm sure you're going to need. If you don't have somebody who's that quick and explosive on your practice squad, you're going to find him somewhere on somebody else's team this year. The Richard Jibunor, he's an edge linebacker, safety, 6'3" and 222 pounds. That star backer. You're going to find those on their team. You have one on your team. BJ Wilson, again, tackle. Maybe put him on your practice squad, see what he can do. Maybe he develops into something. And then Greenhagen. If you're going against a team that actually has a tough defense, that has a good run-stopping defense, maybe you need to have him on the other side of the ball for the week. I'm just saying. These are just names you put out there. Now, I'm sure the Patriots are aware of these guys. And I'm sure other teams are aware of them, and they haven't made the phone call yet for some particular reason. But if you're the Patriots and you're only bringing in one guy as of right now, is it because you really, really think that you're that good? Which, again, I made the point in my last video. You're going into the season, and I mean, you can talk it up all you want, and I'm there with you with saying, like, it's not as bad as people want to think it is, but you're going into the season with the idea, with your perception that you are coming in fourth in your own division that you owned for 20 years. You can't just keep, running it back. Can't just keep doing the same thing. And I'm not saying you are, but the perception is you are. That's the perception. Bring some of these guys in, all of a sudden it's like, well, what are they doing? Why are they trying that? Well, maybe these guys make the team. People start looking into these guys. Oh wow, that Junior Aho guy. Wow, he's a freak. Look how fast he is. Oh, that Richard Jibunor guy. Wow, really fast linebacker that has. Look at all the sacks this guy has. 6'3", 222, and he's that quick and fast. Man, maybe the Patriots are looking to be a little bit different nowadays. Who's this Ryan Greenhagen guy? Wow, he set the NCAA Division I record for 31 tackles in one game. Oh my gosh, he averaged over 10 tackles a game. What is this guy? Why didn't he get drafted? Man, the Patriots really know what they're doing. They're really trying hard to put a team together. Irabor, some guy from Union College from Braintree. Division III, you found him runs a 4.4, 5.40. 36-inch vert. He's a brainiac. Carlton Martial. What's this guy? Oh man, he's 5'9", 201. Oh wait, he's the all-time leader in tackles in the FBS. Should have went to the Senior Bowl, but he's injured. We found him. We're taking a chance on him. Who's BJ Wilson? Oh, he's he's a tackle. Where's Quincy? What's Quincy? Oh, he's a D2 school. Interesting. Turns out the guy can play. A couple years down the road, all of a sudden he makes it on the team. Everybody loves it. Most of these guys are walk-ons. By the way, Carlton Martial won that award. Nationally. Defensive, I believe. All right, I'll stop. This was, again, this unscripted, off-the-cuff type of stuff, but it's something that we need to think about. We did a decent draft. Again, I might go into another rant if I start down this, but it was a good draft in my opinion. I gave it a B+. The big problem was opportunities lost and not trading. You had all that draft capital, and you didn't trade up. You didn't throw enough money, or in this case, picks at somebody else to go up and get Blake Freeland or DeJuan Jones in the 4th round, which I don't know. I don't know what to tell you right now. But if in the 4th round you take somebody who's 6'8", is one of the largest people to ever walk through, the NCAA and make it into the draft, and regardless if it's an injury or he's just not the guy that motivated, but if you're not going to take a flyer on somebody like that in the 4th round, and you give him a shot to be play football in the NFL, and yeah, maybe if the guy's a complete bust, even you have to cut him this year. I don't think anybody's gonna be mad at you for trying to give it a shot at 6'8". I'm nearly 4. I mean, you need a right tackle at some point. You give him a couple years. Jeez, even if you think he's that bad, maybe it is a health or an injury or an attitude issue or whatever. Are you incapable of doing that? Do the New England Patriots are literally just borrowing players at this point? Or are they trying to grow players? Are they trying to develop players? Are you trying to change them? These guys are still young, right? We have this thing. I'm going to make, here comes a little sidetrack. The idea of what they call neoteny, right? You have neoteny that happens, and it gets later and later in humans. What is neoteny? It's basically holding on to our childhood traits longer, right? We look how long do we hold on to looking like babies, and how we look younger longer. And you can see this both physically and emotionally and everything. And it's not necessarily a coddling or anything. It's actually kind of how we are evolving and with society and as a human physically. But take the ideas that you ever see those pictures online when people show the pictures of their parents when they're 18 and they look like they're 40 when they're in the 60s or 70s, and they look at us now, and younger adults look like they're like teenagers. I was working with an athlete and a high school athlete recently, and they're like, "Oh, that person's in my class." I was like, "What?" I mean, the kid looked like he was 12 years old. He was a senior in high school. Just look younger. Now that could be a generational thing, how they dress and but point being is that these guys coming out, if they have these issues, you're gonna have to give them a little bit, because we're not moving back college to like when they're 25, right? Where like we haven't made those adjustments yet, and you get some guys who do come out and they're ready and prepared to go, but you might have to go find some of these guys that might need an extra year or two of physical training and learning to be a professional, because they've never been a professional. They've been a professional student for 20-something years. And they've been in controlled environments pushing towards being an athlete, a professional athlete, and all the other things that athletes need to be a professional athlete that's not taught or experienced through sports, that molds the actual human, hasn't happened yet. So if all of a sudden it's a red flag, and it's not necessarily they're not motivated, or things, they're not, really in on it, or there's some character issues there. I'm one for drafting people with character, but if you have an opportunity if you know you could fix it or address it, and this person has upside potential at a discount in the draft in the 4th round, you should be going after that. I would have red flags all over the place for Blake Freeland. He's got anthropometric portions that, yeah, it makes him almost impossible to sit down and really get leverage low, right? But you can train that athlete to at least close the gap a little bit, so it's not necessarily just a easy gaping hole in their play and what they do. You can at least close the gap. I don't care. Take 2 years. Take 2 years to get that done. You could, because next year, I don't care if you go and you get him this year, and next year you go get one of the, what's his name, Alt from, Notre Dame, the guy from one of the best tackles, and there's the guy from Penn State, which I forget his name. It's quite complicated, but you got the guy from Penn State and Alt from Notre Dame. Two much better than anybody in this year's draft class for tackles, at least in terms of being well balanced, and both of those guys technically are better than Paris Johnson Jr. now, and they're coming back through another college season, bigger, faster, and stronger, and they're they're better than them now. The only person that probably skills wise is better than them is Skoronski, and we've gone through that. I don't need to go through that idea again, but you miss the opportunities there. Now, at least maybe you come here and you think, we can come back to the idea of these mini camp guys. You're not going to find, the ultimate diamond in the rough here. But again, you missed out on the draft, and you got one guy coming in minicamp. And I'm giving you a name for a running back. What else did we need? A tackle. Maybe a defensive playmaker. A fast linebacker for next year. A run-stopping machine for next year. And if that's not for next year, maybe these guys just play in your practice squad for a couple years. But there's some excitement around it. There's something going on. Football. Your team as a Patriot, I understand, everybody, it doesn't really matter. Winning a Super Bowl cures all, right? But then also, it's a form of entertainment. You have these guys, you're trying to create excitement, and if you're Robert Kraft, you have this brand new expansion onto Gillette. You got the new lighthouse. You got the whole new wing. Got this. Everything's coming in. You got the O'Brien coming back, brought in some free agents, and all this stuff. And then, but most of these, I think it's consensus. I haven't heard anybody that from the outside of the Patriots say yeah, they're good to go, all good to go. There's all these questions of why aren't they doing more of this? And then you only have one guy on your mini camp list, your rookie mini camp list. One. Throw these guys in there, and maybe it's like maybe we're like, oh, that just seems weird. But then if you dig in, they're like, oh, man, the Patriots did some work here. They picked up the phone and started dialing. We need to make some moves. Or we're gonna sit on our hands. We're fine. No, you're not. You might be, but from the fans' perspective, you're not. All right, so that turned into a rant again, and I apologize. I like doing these types of videos because I sit here and a quick little light on me, which is I look through spreadsheets, I look through companies' 10Qs, 10Ks, press releases, earnings reports, data all day long, and then this is my way of looking at something that's not necessarily, even though it is stats and all that, but I get some of this frustrations out because everything else is such mechanical, machine-like algorithms. And, football is a matter of, it's data. Like, you take your guys, what they are. Like, a guy brings in 5 yards of carry. Doesn't matter what they look like or what they do, whatever, right? As long as you win, no one really cares. But then there's also that side of it that this is a form of entertainment. And you gotta look like you're trying. If you're losing, you should be getting up every day and letting the people know that you're trying to, they essentially kind of work for, that you're trying to fix it, rather than sitting there and saying, we like the guys we like. We like our guys. We think we're good. You didn't win last year. You're not good. Well, we did some improvements. Do more. Well, I don't think we can do any more. Look like you're doing it. If you're at your job and you're sitting at your desk and you got everything done and your boss is walking around on the floor looking around into people's cubicles, or walking into people's offices, or walking the manufacturing line, or giving you a call, like, hey, doing a service call, and they're coming in, they come with you, and all you're doing is just fixing up the last couple things on this final part of the job, and your boss comes in with you and just, hey, what are you guys doing? Well, this is all we got to do today. This is fine. And not everything is all cleaned up. And, well, you know what? Aren't you not hustling to get something done to make it look like, hey, we're working hard for you, rather than we kind of did our job. It looks fine. This is good enough. Nah, I'm done for the day. I got my inbox is empty. I'm good. I'm gonna sit here for 3 hours. Or are you gonna go and do something else? Are you gonna go help one of your employees? Now, again, I'm kind of going off a little bit of tangent here, but as I'm looking at this team and, they're doing stuff behind the scenes, and I totally believe it. Totally believe it. And I think that, again, I'll say this again, I know this team's better than they were last year. But you have to know that everybody believes that you are coming in fourth this year with a losing record. It is possible that you have a better team this year and you have a worse record. Because you're not taking the swings. You're not getting up and violently scrambling for every yard in the off-season. Off-season yardage. Get it done. If one guy coming in right now, if it's this weekend, you can't. I don't think you're going to get 3-4 guys to come in the next couple days, even next week. Again, I don't know. Even that one guy, he's been invited by the Giants. He's not crazy. The Giants aren't crazy. They don't need a running back. Maybe they do. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but Saquon Barkley, they invited this guy for a reason. right, I'll officially sign off. Things to think about. Sorry for the rant. Take home is there's guys out there. The Patriots don't need to be going into this with one guy. And I don't, next year, I think maybe I forgot to exclude this, good thing I held on, is that if you are trying to find people to add to your squad and you're going to take, this is a chance for you to take a shot on guys that are not getting a shot. This is your shot at this. I don't want to be next year going into the draft with that wide receiver class, that quarterback class, and I mean that offensive tackle class that's coming in next year. There's a whole bunch of reasons why things are better next year. I mean, the D tackle class is absurd at this point, in my opinion. Safety class is better. There's all these things that are better next year. What happens if you do need to replace Bentley, Uche, Trent Brown, and Duggar next year? Oh, yeah, and Awenu. Mapu maybe can take over Duggar. Nothing at tackle. I don't care what you say. You'd have to go out and do free agency, which I don't know if that class is deep enough. Uche, probably not going to find somebody in free agency that can maybe do that. So you're and you just got White, but you don't have an upright edge that can play that linebacker's position as well. Yeah, you're going to have to, instead of going after the wide receiver that we're going to need to do next year, because who else would that be? That would be Bourne and Parker. So we have to get so we have to pick those guys up. So now we're going to go be either paying up for Bentley, Uche. Who else are we probably paying up for if we don't get Brown? I don't know. Duggar, you're going to have to pay. I mean, who's behind them? Like, so Bentley, McMillan's up next year. Now you think Tavai's going to be your run stopper? I don't know. Who's your upright edge that besides Judon? You got Uche, and then what's after that? Jennings? And Jennings is up next year. This is getting interesting. It's going to be either a lot of free agency, because I think you got to pick out next year. The first 2 rounds, it's going to have to be a tackle and wide receiver. It's the class to do it next year. It's loaded, and God knows what they're going to be doing about quarterback. Unbelievable. Anyway, I'll end it here. This is officially it. Thanks for listening. I appreciate your time. As always, if you like my content and you like this last rant, please like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.